Okay, welcome everyone to Kim's video journal. Today's date is June the 8th, 2020. It is a Monday, so we are a little bit.
Funny screen on.
Don't worry, dear. I forgot what I was saying now.
It's not right.
Doesn't matter. Just words up there. I'll turn the volume off. That was all. And I forgot what I was saying.
Welcome everybody.
Which we've done. Okay, the usual. We're going to ask your questions and what you can remember of the week, and then we're going to leave it over with Kim. Okay, questions. What is your name?
Kim Tolton.
And how old are you?
56.
What is your date of birth?
22nd of July 1963.
Who are you talking to?
My husband Stephen.
How many children have you?
4.
And their names?
Leslie, Christopher, Carly and Michael.
Do you have grandchildren?
I do.
And their names?
I have Alfie and Alea and Mia and Corey and Sky.
What's your favourite colour?
Orange.
Out of these, which is your favourite, apple, peach or strawberry?
Apple.
What was your last job?
My last job was I was an advanced nurse practitioner looking, well not looking, but working with patients diagnosed with bowel cancer.
What other jobs have you done?
I've been a nursery nurse and a registered childminder. This was before. I worked on a mushroom farm and I worked in a fish and chip shop and I worked for Customs and Excise.
What was the song you danced with your granddad?
Moon River.
Where did you go on holiday every Easter with your family?
Caister Sands.
What was the name of yours and Sean's pony?
Angus.
What's your favourite hobby?
Horse riding.
What town do we live in at the moment?
Battles Bridge.
What day is Christmas Day?
December the 5th.
Hold up 3 fingers.
1, 2, 3.
Name a Carpenter's song you like to sing.
I'm on top of the world.
You've a book next to you called Rosa's Tie Calf. There's an introduction that has 9 subjects. If you'd like to see if you can read them out.
Okay. Salads, soups, curries, stir fries, grills, rice, sweet beans, basics.
Okay. Is there anything in this week that you can remember that sticks in your mind for any reason?
Give me a clue.
I don't think there was much really going on. So we're in the middle of what at the moment? What are we in the middle of? And we have to stay indoors.
Corona.
Lockdown. So obviously we haven't gone out or anything. So have we had any visitors or have we spoken to anyone?
No, but I'm getting my new wheelchair tomorrow.
We did have Lee come over to sort of look at doing some of the electrics and changing the light in the bedroom.
Yep.
And sort out the goats, put a light in there.
Yep.
And one in the conservatory, not the conservatory, the barbecue area. And I think he's going to sort out a fan for us. But the main thing is we are actually going to have a light that works in our bedroom up on the wall. It doesn't keep.
Yes, that hasn't been working properly for a long time.
It's quite old, isn't it? It's over 10 years old, that unit, but we can't get replacement bulbs, so that's one thing will be good for you.
Yeah. Not that it'll help me, because I won't be able to read at night like I used to.
And did you talk to any of the family this week?
Yes, I spent nearly an hour talking to my son and his wife and my grandchildren. Which is Leslie's children, and I also got to do a video chat with Chris and Gemma, which is my other son, which was lovely, but I want to be able to hug them.
Which everyone's going through at the moment, unfortunately. Okay, there's nothing else I can think of. So you wanted to talk about family members in particular, your grandparents and that, so I'm going to leave it over to you.
So last time I think I spoke a bit about my grandparents, but I think that was more around Mum and her ill health. And I just want to concentrate on the relationship that I had with my grandparents, and they were really special. So my maternal grandmother, she had her problems. I'm sure it wasn't helped by the fact that no sooner had she fallen pregnant with my mum, the war broke out and my grandfather was enlisted into the Royal Ulster Guards and had to do the tour of Italy up into North Africa during the Second World War. And she worked in a munitions factory. And my mum was actually 4 before she met her dad, because she had only just been conceived when he went to war. But she was an incredibly resourceful, which I think was a great part of living through war-torn Britain, because people had to be resourceful, a bit like now, where you sort of just had to make do and mend and make the best of things. And I think we can all relate to that right now. But she was an incredibly gifted, creative woman. And I have so many wonderful memories of being with my nanny Faulkner. She taught me how to do floristry displays, the garden. We'd make jewellery together. We'd go to what were they called, where you used to go and pick up bits of old fabric and clothing, and you could take it home and make it into something else.
What, just second-hand shops?
Bring and buy sales, wasn't it? Yeah, or bring and buy sales, or the sale thing at the market. And she taught me how to make clothes. She was, after the war, she was a seamstress. She was a very talented seamstress, as well as a florist, so she had the two jobs. She only had my mum, so yeah, it was just great fun. I mean, we would find broken bits of pottery, all sorts of bits of broken pottery, and we'd decorate them with macaroni or lentils or shells off of the sea, from the seaside, and you know, all stuff like that. And we'd go blackberry picking, and it was just wonderful. But she did have a side to her that I think we were protected from largely when she was when we were young. But she had her own mental health problems, and I think my grandfather protected her from people knowing really how things were, and I suspect she was a undiagnosed schizophrenic. She would have terrible times of feeling very, she'd come across very paranoid, and it was very difficult to reason with her in those times. But as children, we didn't see that side. It wasn't really until we got older that we saw that side of her. But she was just, she had the most incredible laugh. She really, when she laughed, she really laughed, put her whole soul into it, and you couldn't help but laugh with her. And the wonderful thing was, in the times where her mental health was quite good, she would laugh along at herself as well, which was magical, and it was great. And I had a lovely relationship with my nan, and in fact I think one of my fondest memories was when I was pregnant with my eldest son Leslie, and I'd had a very troubled pregnancy, and I'd been on bed rest for most of the pregnancy, and anyway, I lived literally just around the corner from my grandmother at the time in Wickford, and I should have known better, because I've watched my mum bring 3 brothers into the world, and I knew an awful lot about looking after babies even before getting pregnant. And anyway, I thought, I've got laundry to do. I didn't have a washing machine, so I thought I'll go to the laundry, do my laundry, then I'll whip down the road to see me nan. And when I got there, my mum was there, and they were just about to sit down to lunch. So Nan said, "Oh, don't worry, dear, I'll go and make something up for you as well. That's not a problem. It'd be nice to have you, all of you here, all 3 of us here." And just before we sat down to eat, I started to feel, oh, there's a very strong Braxton Hicks there. And I was aware that I kept shifting my weight, and I'm thinking, oh my word. And my son was 5 weeks premature at that point. So we still had a way to go really before he was due to be born. And my mum started looking at me, and I saw her starting to look at her watch, and we'd carry on and we'd be talking, and then I'd stop and have a pause where I was getting a contraction, and it took ages before she twigged, and she went, "Is there something wrong?" And this was where that little side of this paranoia side of her kicked in. She said, "Is there something wrong? You know, why do you keep looking at your watch? You came to see me." And she just went, "It's all right, Mum, Kim's in labour." And she just went to pieces, honestly. And there's such a fond memory I've got. And I kept saying to her, it's fine, he's not going to pop out right now, I'm sure." But she was absolutely adamant she was calling the ambulance, so the ambulance was called, and off I went to go and for my confinement. So that was a fantastic memory, and part of what she taught me was the ability to sew, to knit. I made all my children's clothes when they were little. The only thing I stopped making their clothes when I had to start doing collars, because I hate doing collars. But everything else, I've always made the drapes, and I've pretty much always tried. I used to do all the home improvements, and so I sort of kind of took on her mantle and enjoyed it. And she was one of these people that would just collect buttons and bric-a-brac and all sorts of stuff, and it was magical to go rummaging through. So that was my nan. And my granddad Fred, he was so special to me, not least because I was the only girl in the family. As I've mentioned before, I've got 3 younger brothers, and the relationship I had with my granddad was priceless. And I think my fondest memories are when we would have special occasions and he would dance with me. And he was an amazing dancer, an amazing ballroom dancer. Absolutely amazing. My dad was good, but my granddad, wow, he really could dance. And he put my feet on his feet as young as 4, and we'd do the waltz, always dance the waltz with him, and he'd spin me round and round and round and round until I was so giddy I was giggling and couldn't stand up straight. And that was that's always stayed with me, and he's very much still a part of me. I've always felt from the moment we lost him, we lost him far too soon really, and from cancer of the esophagus, and I'm really pleased that I was able to help nurse him, and as much as he hated that, I'm pleased that I was able to be there the day that he died, and I was with him and my nan and my mum. But he was a really special man. He was such a calm, loving person. I mentioned last time about my problems with food, but my granddad, if he sat me on his knee and gave me a spoonful of food, even if it was food I didn't like, I would eat it for him, because I would do anything for him. He was a true gentleman, and 1 in a million, that's for sure. So that's my nan and granddad, my mum's parents. My dad was born in Ely, and again he was a baby when wartime Britain was rampaging, and she was in the munitions. Like most of the, you know, if you weren't in the land army, it was in the munitions factories. And she also had a part-time job as a barmaid in Rumford. And she was through and through Cockney. She loved her wrestling. She would be sitting on the edge if she came to see us, because she lived in Dagenham, so if she came to see us, she always had to watch the wrestling, and she'd be sitting on the edge of her seat with her handbag, and she'd be shaking her handbag at the TV if the wrestling wasn't going to plan. She was a hopeless cook. She couldn't cook for love nor money, but her mother-in-law had lived with them for a long time. My nan cared for her until she died, and Nanny Woolman was the one that did all the cooking, as opposed to my Nanny Elliot. And again, great fond memories. She loved her bingo. She smoked like a trooper. She swore like a trooper. All the things my parents are not. Neither of my parents have ever smoked, or but I loved her to bits. She was so tiny. She's a tiny lady, and we just used to have fun together, and I'd often go and stay with her, especially as I got older. I'd enjoy having sleepovers with her. Summer holidays I might just go and stay for the better part of the week, and I used to love doing it, and I used to try and teach her how to cook, and never really very satisfactory, but she could make a piece of salad, sort of, but you had to be sure that there'd be water sloshing around on the plate, because she always forgot to drain it. And she made all her own clothes again, and she knitted for forever. She knitted for everyone, everything, every occasion, but one sleeve was always longer than the other, always, and she always used to laugh at herself for that. But she was widowed not very long after the war, and she never remarried. She wasn't interested in marrying again. She didn't want companionship particularly. She was too busy with all her different clubs and things that she used to go to. And yeah, it's a long time ago now that we lost my nan. Long time. I was in my late teens when she passed away. I can remember that day, as most of us do when they're those moments. She had my dad, when he was a baby, would be put in this cocoon that was his, what was it they gave to the children in the war? The bags that gas masks, and they were like baby's cocoon face, those. And on one particular night, the raid alarm was sounded, air raid, and my nan grabbed my dad and run down into the Anderson shelter, and they came out the next morning and no house. I'm not sure what she did in those intervening years, but after the war she was rehoused in a housing estate in where did I say she came from again? Now her friend Darren was Dagenham, yeah. And she was never interested in moving down or anything like that, yeah. And she had a real lasting effect on me as well. And I think grandparents are incredibly important, really, really important. And that then reflects back into the here and now, because we've had 2 new lots of grandchildren born during this lockdown, and I'm missing all those firsts. Yeah, I can see it on Zoom, sort of, but I have really poor sight now because of the posterior cortical atrophy, dementia I've got, and I just want to be able to cuddle them. I want to be able to cuddle my sons. I want to be able to cuddle my grandchildren. I want to be meeting face to face with them all. And yet, really, what we're going through now compared to what my grandparents had to go through in the war, this is nothing. This is nothing at all. So I have to take that, really, and just be grateful for what I have, and just look forward to the day when I can cuddle my grandchildren and my sons again. And that's it for today.
Okay, that's it for Kim's video journal today. Thank you everyone for listening, and hopefully we'll catch up with you again next week. Take care.